Today is February 17th, 2025, and today we're going to meet Alon. Alon came through February 25th, 2019 at 3:26:17 p.m. He came through roughly 2 weeks after Esteban, who is the being we've just met prior in this series. I'm still in Alpine, California, so this is the location in which he came through, in which he contacted me. And there were no other beings who came through between Esteban and Alon. So they came through back to back. In early 2019, this is a very good example of how the transmissions would come through. With one dominant eye, the second eye recessed, which spirals the attention down into multiple layers of beings and data. And also with some interference in the frame. As you can see here, there's a large lens flare or flash in the shot just under the dominant eye. Here we have the full frame, the full original frame, one dominant eye, one recessed eye. And now we'll go ahead and bring Alon more forward and clean the lens flare up out of the frame to help you see him just a little better. And now back to the more blown up version, just to help him be more easily seen all the more. We spoke in a previous segment about the brainwaves. Let's take that a bit further now and talk about data processing speeds. This is a perfect frame to use as an example for this. So in the original frame, with the one dominant eye, the second eye recessed, which again allows you to spiral down and see the overlapping spectrum of data beyond the being who's transmitting through, the one who's most out in front. The beta brainwave bandwidth, the bandwidth we use predominantly when in 3D physical space, in our conscious, what we call our conscious state of attention, is a very slow data processing speed. It allows for the insertion of the concepts of space and time, which give the illusion of distance between one and another, between one thing and another thing, one being and another being, one moment and another moment. This allows consciousness to traverse an experience in what, relatively speaking, is super slow motion, and to linger in the depths of extreme detail. Now, in our conscious state of attention, in our consciousness here in 3D physical space, notably the 3D Earth life, we do not necessarily pick up on those extreme levels of detail. However, there is or are levels of consciousness that do collect this data, this information, or who investigate and explore it. In order to take in more data all at once, we have to learn how to allow shifts in our brainwave frequencies. We have to learn to allow them to occur while in our conscious state of attention. This is what allows us to look upon information coming through what we see in these original transmissions with more awareness, with greater insight, with an expanded vision. It's what allows us to see within the depths of the transmission into more dimensions of it. It allows us to see multiple planes on which information is coming up through. We can collect as much of that as we're apt to, as much as what we're open to going in for. But again, that allows us to shift our brainwave frequencies, allow them to shift into other frequency bandwidths that are much wider and can contain much more information, potentially coming through to us all at once. No space, no time, no distance between one bit of information and another. Alan is a feline-human hybrid. He contacts me mostly when I'm in my conscious state in 3D physical space rather than in an OBE. He may have contacted me that way, but I have no awareness of it. He does regularly and routinely contact me in my conscious state. This is one of the frames that I am apt to go into for more detail. I do feel a very strong connection with it. There is a strong connection between Alan and potentially his sphere of origin, which I feel may be Aldebaran. This could be correct. This could be incorrect. I cannot confirm this at this time. It's just an idea that comes up within me when I'm gazing into this frame, and there does seem to be a connection, a portal of sorts between Aldebaran and or whatever his planet of origin is, and what we call ancient Egypt. This came through to me not in an OBE, not in my conscious state, not when attempting to bring him through in a channeling state of consciousness, but in a regression session I had years ago. I will link that in the show notes to this video, just in case anybody would like to have a listen to that. I'll link to the exact time as well. His feline human sides. This can be much more easily seen in the filling out of his face, the mirroring it to both the right and the left. And it's interesting that even though we have his dominant eye filled out into his face, even still mirroring it to one side, you can see the human, mirroring it to the other, you can see the feline. We'll just take a moment here now and show you these. And see what you yourself are able to detect. So as you can see, the process of filling out the face and or mirroring it to one side and or the other is an additional way that we can collect data. It's not entirely useless. We do lose some data in the mirroring. However, we still have the original frame to work with for that additional data. But the mirroring process, this does bring through characteristics that do not necessarily come through to everyone when gazing at the original transmissions, which again are more 6D and or 5D. So we showed you how we step the frames down from 60, which is the original orientation of this frame, down toward 3D, which work toward the mirrors, where one dominant being comes forward and not a lot of other data to interfere with your view and vision of him. So now I'll just move myself into the background and Alan out to the front. We'll use this large cropped frame to help him be most easily seen. And those of you who wish can connect with him for a moment and receive what you're open to receive. Until we have Alan. We'll be back again soon with the next being.